Hi, everyone, and welcome. Welcome to another episode of our immigration updates. Today, I'm just thrilled to have Teymour Pilehvar, a way younger brother from a very naughty mother who lives and thrives in Florida, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, originally from Oklahoma. And he's making a life out in Florida as an immigration attorney, brilliant immigration attorney, and I had the privilege of meeting him at one of the AILA conferences a couple of years ago, and he is just the bomb. Welcome, Teymour.
Thank you for having me, Ali. I'm very honored to be on your show, and I'm glad we met at that conference.
Awesome. So real quick, I mean, Teymour does a full-service immigration law firm. He does non-immigrant visas, and he also does citizenship and removal. And his firm is based out of Fort Lauderdale, like I said. How are you coping? How are you coping with COVID? Has it changed your life?
You know, it hasn't really. So to be clear, I've actually never done a removal case.
Okay.
I do federal litigation, I do work visas, I do a lot of artists, athletes, and entertainers. So, you know, luckily I'm a lean firm, and my demographic hasn't been hit too hard by this. So I've got a few perms pending right now, and that brings up all these new issues. The other day I had an employer who's running a perm ad who is now filing for unemployment as well. So I mean, a lot of complications, but luckily none of them have hit my pocket directly yet. So knock on wood.
Right. All of those perm, I mean, they're likely to get audited, correct?
Yes, and you know, it brings up questions of the internal filing that you did for 10 days in the business site. Was there anyone in the business? You know, these are questions that I don't know if they're going to ask. So, right. But you take it a day at a time. And you know, I think the clients understand that we're in uncharted territory right now.
Right, exactly. And you also do a lot of work with artists and talent, correct? Talk about that.
Well, it's my favorite because as you know, I do a lot of social media marketing, and when you have clients that do cool things, we as lawyers, by the transitive properties of legal representation, become cool ourselves. So yeah, I've been doing a lot of P3s lately, O1s, of course. I did one for a really cool extreme scooter pro, and we did a video together. I did a P1 with a Brazilian jiu-jitsu athlete, and I actually trained with her trainer and went to a competition alongside her. And so, you know, I'll do anything for the gram, right?
Right. But COVID, I mean, does have an effect as far as these folks being able to come over and actually do the job that they were hired to do. Has that slowed a little bit?
For example, I'm representing right now a ballet company from my home state of Oklahoma. And they're getting RFEs, and one of the questions that they're getting is, are these workers needed because we see that your performances have been canceled for the season, right?
Right.
Luckily, they're still training. They're still doing virtual performances, if you can believe that. They do their whole performance and put it online for others to view, and it's published by Dance Magazine and others. So there are ways around it, but it does bring up a lot of complications that usually aren't part of the analysis for these cases.
Right. I think it just changes the way you would present the case. For example, pre-production changes, training changes, rehearsal changes, all of it. It's going to be a new world as we delve into this post-COVID period, if you want to call it that. But that's interesting. Did you respond to the RFE with those responses that you just mentioned?
Currently drafting it, but yeah, we haven't sent them off yet. We're in no rush. We got a 60-day extension on the RFE. You know, the USCIS gave everyone 60 more days. So, right. You know, I advise them there's no reason for us to rush this in. Let's just wait and see how the COVID lockdown goes. And maybe by the end of that period, it won't even be an issue anymore.
Great advice. So when we were prepping for this, you started talking about a litigation case you just handled, and you were excited and stoked about that. Talk about that. How did that come about?
Okay, well, so this one in particular was a naturalization case. And in the big picture of where we are as a political country, as society right now, I think this is very important because every approved naturalization applicant, in my eyes, is a new voter. And I think our current government realizes that. And they've become a lot tougher with these cases. And sometimes they'll backburn the cases and just leave them pending for unlawful periods of time. And in other cases, like the one I'm about to talk about, they will find any basis of removability and try and send the client to immigration court and say, if you survive there, come back. Okay. And in this particular case, the client came to me after his N-400 was pending for almost 2 years. And we did an info pass appointment where we found out that the government was preparing an NTA on him. And the basis of that was a joint from 2003 and a joint from 2005, which, as we all know, is a basis for removability. And they put his N-400 on hold and they sent him the NTA. But by this point, we'd already sued in federal court. So the way that they sent him the NTA was really unique. They did it by putting 4 unmarked minivans posted out in his neighborhood from 2 a.m. And when he got up to go to work the next morning, I've got it on film because he has one of those doorbell cameras, that he was walking out to his car with his coffee mug in his hand, and 4 minivans rushed into his circle driveway, blocked all the entrances off, and arrested him there. And they issued the NTA just like that. So, I want to direct all of my colleagues' attentions to a June 28, 2018 policy memo. We all know it as the NTA memo, okay? And the number is PM-602-0050.1. I'll try and put that on the screen here. Part of this memo is unlawful. And I don't know if anyone's caught on to it, but part of it says that if an N-400 is approvable, yet the person has some basis of removability, it directs the USCIS to put it on hold, okay? And that's in direct violation of the 120-day time limit in 1447B. So I filed a motion for summary judgment on that basis, saying that they're acting on my client under the guidance of an unlawful policy memo, and that the whole memo should be set aside, at least insofar as that provision was concerned. I never got to slay the dragon, so to say. We never got a judge to say the policy memo was unlawful because they settled before their response was due. They made him a citizen. They ended the deportation proceedings. And I actually got a pretty healthy amount of attorney's fees back after that.
Nice.
So,
nice.
Yeah, it felt great. It felt great. But, this is more important than ever. We should all be suing the government right now, every chance we get. I mean it. Because if there's a loophole that the government can use to the detriment of our clients right now, they're going to try it. And, when you sue the government in federal court, you're going up against an AUSA who's typically not an immigration lawyer. Now, in this particular case, just as a side note, when we had a hearing in federal court, the AUSA was the one doing the talking for the government side, but she also brought with her the Florida's top DHS official who was sitting in the galley behind. So that made me feel good. That made me feel like maybe they were a little bit worried. But I think we should all look at this policy memo and use it to collaterally attack the government when they try and issue NTAs on the basis of a pending N-400.
Yeah, good advice. I mean, first of all, I'm really proud of you for doing that. Congratulations. And federal litigation, I mean, we've had good batting average at our firm when things aren't fair. And you go to federal court and you more often than not find justice, and in my experience, in my firm's experience. So it's a good thing. I think I agree. I think we all should sue more and not lay back and just accept the injustice that is thrown our way on a regular basis. So good going. Congratulations. Um,
One question that I get from colleagues more than anything is, how do you convince your clients to go forward with a lawsuit?
how did you do it?
And for me, and I know this isn't maybe the most practical advice, but I just act super nerdy about it, and I show them that I'm really excited. I love suing the government, and I ooze that excitement, and it can be contagious for a client when they see that you're excited about the issue. Now, also, if I don't think it's the best option, I'm not going to advise them for it. But a lot of the times it is the best option, and our clients are just afraid. In a more recent case that I just filed, my clients were all on board, and I already filed it now, but when I showed them the first draft of the complaint and they saw William Barr's name on it, they called me right away. And they said, I didn't realize I was going to be suing William Barr. And in reality, William Barr's never going to see this case, right? It's just going to land on his desk, and a lower attorney is going to take over the case. But clients are just intimidated by this. But right now, if it's a business case and they want to refile, there's no premium processing. So the refile is going to take months and months. If it was a change of status, they're going to fall out of status while we wait. So the timeline is another factor that might convince them. And if there's deportation involved and you think that you can take a collateral attack at it, I always like to, I'm half Persian, so we love metaphors, Ali. I don't know if you would agree, but I give the metaphor of someone floating down a river going towards a careening waterfall. And I say, yeah, I could always go into deportation court and help you there, but that's akin to letting someone go right up to the waterfall and then pulling them out at the last minute. I would rather save you upstream than wait that whole time. And sometimes, that the clients agree with that, because if federal litigation fails, then you can always fall back on removal court and try and do it then. But right. I've never been to removal court, so I'd rather just nip it in the bud at the federal level.
That's a great analogy, and I just love it because it makes sense to me, at least. I mean, because I'm Persian, so.
Good.
We'll see. But, you take cases to federal court because you're also very knowledgeable in law, and you know your INA inside out, and you also wrap the INA.
So
give it a go. Would you mind? Give me a section.
Give me a freestyle.
Freestyle.
I got to be honest. All of my raps are pre-written. But would you?
Really?
Yeah, I'm not that good. But hold on. No, I can't do it, Ali. I'm sorry.
No worries. So this show is real. It's organic. But another organic thing, you also have products that you've designed out of the INA and out of everything that you work with, such as a coffee mug. That's right. So I saw one of these at the conferences, and I loved it. You have T-shirts and shoes and all sorts, but you also have a really famous client using it for coffee.
I don't want to drop any names here, but it's a well-known colleague of ours whose name rhymes with Schmerzschman. And he's drinking coffee from one of these every day. He won it at a charity auction at the Central Florida Conference. I made this design. I'm going to tell you actually where I got the design. I'll be back. I want to show you something. You might get a kick out of this. I don't know if you'll put this on the show or not. But... So my design is just lots of little immigration icons in a grid.
Right.
It was inspired by a marijuana dispensary in Colorado who has marijuana icons on a grid, and they use this on everything. And I just loved the applicability of this. I mean, you make one design and you can put it as a wallpaper or as a covering. So I took that inspiration and I ran with it.
Well, good. It looks good. It looks good.
Thank you.
I wish you all the success on that front. But I also want to thank you for your time today and giving us your time. I know you're busy. You're going to Oklahoma tomorrow. to visit family driving for 21 hours?
I'll break it up into little chunks. It'll be okay.
Right.
Because flying would be socially irresponsible, Ali. I would hate to do that. So.
No, so driving is
Some
fine.
people might even say it's irresponsible of me to go see my family right now, but I take the opportunities when they're presented.
So thank you so much. And we'll put all your information down below, including the memo that you discussed. That's valuable information. And all the best. And hopefully we'll do this again on another topic, Teymour.
All right, Ali. Thanks for having me on your show, my friend. I hope we can do it again.
Okay, awesome. Take care.